Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 52 of The Cosmic Force. And tonight we have a very special night planned because we got to talk to Ario Anindito earlier, actually about a week ago. So we're going to be airing that interview a little bit later on tonight. But before we do that, we do actually have some news. So let's go ahead and get right into the show and start with our introductions, where we always do. Emma, how's it going tonight?
Oh, doing good. Hey, everybody. Yeah, the show's going to be really exciting. We had a ton of fun. I think you can tell. And Ario's such a cool guy, and it was a lot of fun to talk to him. He's so passionate about Star Wars, and we also got some news today that we're going to share with you guys. So it's going to be a fun episode.
It really is going to be fun. Caleb, how are you doing tonight? Your wife is in the chat because you said, "Hey, it's gonna be a nice, easy night tonight, and then we're gonna hang out and watch the show together."
Exactly. It was, as you said, it's very cruel of Star Wars, of Disney, to give us a bunch of news to talk about. But we'll go through that. We'll inform you all of what's happening in the wider Star Wars world. But then we'll roll that interview, which it's a really good time. Like, I think this has been like the highlight of our show. I think all of us can say that pretty much across the board, that this has been one of the greatest things that we've had coming, and I'm real excited for you to see all this.
Absolutely.
Ario was such an amazing person to talk to, just scheduling this. So to have him show that passion with the four of us, it was a good time. So. And last but not least, the last time for a little bit, Jacob, this is your last show for a little bit before you take your summer internship. So like we said before, we'll figure out ways to get you involved during your sabbatical, but we're gonna have fun.
Yeah. Hey, there's a good chance I just go AWOL. Like, you just like, I fly halfway across the world. I leave Slack. It's like I'm out. But
we're wondering if you're, had a plane crash or something.
It's like, nope, I'm just having fun. But yeah, no, this is my last show. So fun to go out with a bang for a little bit. But I'll be back in late August. Still kind of working out the exact date. But yeah, happy to share this time with everyone.
Yeah. Well, we're going to miss you until then. That's for sure. But we've got some awesome people lined up, though, in the meantime. Mm-hmm. Specifically, I think I can say this, Timothy. He's going to be coming back to join us for a bunch of episodes, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Although we will miss you, though, Jacob.
Yeah, we will, and we'll have to figure out ways that we can, for Obi-Wan number one, or for something else that happens while you're gone. We'll have to figure out ways that we can get some sound bites or something so that you can still have your presence in the show, because it's
I'll make you read the weekly pull list still.
if you want. Send it in for my hotel room.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. You chose a heck of a night to join us live. We are a Star Wars comics podcast that broadcasts live right here on youtube.com/Youtini every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. But if you can't join us live, that is okay, because we're also available on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. We are also a part of the Youtini podcast network of shows in a Discord channel at youtini.com/Discord with more than 1,000 members and dozens of channels to choose from. If you like what you see and you want to say thanks, then head on over to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Youtini, where for as little as $5 a month, you can gain exclusive access to the entire Youtini podcast network of shows, as well as exclusive merch and community involvement activities. So it's a slow comics week, but we do have some news. A little event called Celebration is happening quite soon. And Emma, there was some panel announcements today, and I'll let you go ahead and knock out this first one. I'm really excited about what this first topic is about.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a really cool panel. It's called Exploring the Universe, the Books and Comics of Star Wars. It's on the fan stage on Saturday, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. If you can tell by my sarcasm by now, this is our panel. So yeah, I mean, wow, this whole, the last few days have been absolutely wild. Steven made this awesome graphic to promote the panel. So cool. And then
look at those amazing people.
I can't believe that I get to be up there with all these guys. They're amazing. Seeing our panel on the Celebration website was the wildest thing, I think, and it's only going to get more wild from here. Yeah, so here's our description that we wrote for it. Join us for an exciting discussion about the past, present, and future of Star Wars books and comics. Look back at the importance of legends and celebrate the excitement of continuity in canon. Have a look at the Star Wars timeline and the overarching eras ripe for exploration. If you're a new reader, enjoy a discussion about some of the best content to pick up first and where to go once you get on your feet. If you're a veteran, revisit your favorites and approach some of the lesser-known gems hidden in the vast galaxy of media. It's a huge universe out there. Let's explore it together. So yeah, I honestly can't wait for it. A little nervous, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun overall. And we got a ton of outpouring of support on Twitter when we announced it with the graphic on Twitter. And yeah, it's been great. We're really excited. And yeah, but that wasn't the only panel that was announced though. You guys, this is big.
Yeah,
we're leading off with the biggest, so don't
Right.
these other panels are going to be nice too. But I mean, let's be real. The Utini panel is going to be where it's at. So
it's true.
But Caleb, do you want to go ahead and talk about this second panel that we've got listed here?
Absolutely. This will be a fun one to watch. This is the Lucasfilm Publishing Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away. This will be Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30 on the Twin Sun stage. The official description is as follows. From adult novels to kids' comics, from the time of the High Republic to the rise of the First Order, this is the place to dive deeper into the stories of a galaxy far, far away. Featuring details on new and upcoming titles from Disney, Lucasfilm Press, Del Rey, Dark Horse, and more, including an all-new announcements and reveals from a galaxy far, far away, moderated by Lucasfilm's Michael Siglain. Siglain, sorry, Mr. Siglain. Good. They did kind of use far, far away 3 times in that sort of thing, so it does seem
excited.
A little.
It's very.
We're all excited. Yeah.
That was a very dramatic reading, by the way. I appreciated that.
Yes.
Good. I did see the Dark Horse was bolded and underlined, I think, for our notes, because that's what we're most interested in. Thank you. Yes. And that is the one that I am most interested in.
Me too. Yeah.
This would probably be like the first major announcement that we've had. Like, we've gotten like some teasers about them continuing the High Republic stories, I think, but nothing like concrete yet.
Yeah, I'll just honestly be interested to see like when exactly the stuff is getting picked back up again.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I've been missing it.
Yeah, so that we have some a Utini panel, we have a publishing panel, and we actually also do have a Marvel Star Wars comics panel that is also going to be on Saturday from 5:30 to 6:30 on the Twin Sun stage. And the description for this one is make mine Star Wars and make mine Marvel. Join Marvel editor-in-chief CB Cebulski and some of Marvel's top talent for a comics conversation unlike any other, including all new announcements and reveals from a galaxy far, far away. So that is going to be very exciting.
It feels like they've already announced everything that they possibly could. Like, what else? Like, how many more people are you throwing into Star Wars comics?
Oh wait,
no, but I'm here for it.
And one more thing. I mean, that's what I'm going to be excited about is whatever's going to be that one more thing. So I will probably be attending that panel, and as soon as I get done, for those of you that go ahead,
Tyler. One thing. So the interesting part about this panel, at least for you and I and other big comics fans, is that this overlaps with the Bad Batch panel.
That is true.
Yes, this is interesting.
And more importantly, for those of you that are listening to us, we're going to be in celebration. This actually runs right into the Utini celebration party as well on Saturday night. So that's also going to be something that once we get done with that, we're going to be heading on over to that event there as well. So lots of comics and Utini events going on. And then Jacob, you threw in this additional quasi comics panel. I mean, we'll run with it.
Yeah. So this one is weird. And I don't know. Okay. So there's a comic book from the 90s. It's a very influential Star Wars comic book called Tales of the Jedi. That it was like, it tells the story of like the galaxy before like the period of the Old Republic in the timeline. and it was very very influential. That's where like Exar Kun and stuff like that comes from, and Nomi Sunrider, and so like that's Legends, obviously. Well, I think it was around December. There was like a leaked, or not leaked, but like rumored, like potential allegedly Lucasfilm employee holiday gift that had like, it was a box, and on the sides of the box had like a bunch of projects they've been working on, like Willow and the Bad Batch and Visions and like the new Indiana Jones movie. And then one of them was a Tales of the Jedi logo, and we're like, well, what's that? Because we haven't heard anything about that, and that kind of went away for a while. And then they sent up the panelists this morning, and one of them was Tales of the Jedi. So it's they're official. It's going to be on the Celebration stage, and streamed at the Galaxy and the Twin Sun stages, Saturday 4 to 5. So a very big panel. Yes. And it is the description is very short. It just says, introducing Tales of the Jedi, an animated anthology shorts hosted by Amy Ratcliffe with special guest Dave Filoni. So
the Dave Filoni.
That sounds a lot like Star Wars Visions.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of speculation on what's going on. It's like probably not anything to do with the comics. Probably maybe we'll get some references. That'd be cool. But it's, who knows? I am excited, just as excited as everyone else, to see what that means. If we just found out officially, quote unquote, that there's a new animated series coming out via panel announcements. I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
And by the way, I have to say, Jacob, like, you have some eagle eyes on you, because it took you all of like 5 minutes when the panel announcements came out. You like scrolled through all, like, I don't know, there's probably like 100 different panels on the site or something like that. And you're like, hey guys, wow, this is weird. I wonder what this could be.
Yeah. And then about 15 minutes later, the whole website went down. But then
I was gonna say, I didn't see an official notification for this until like later in the afternoon.
Yeah, so that they did eventually put up the because the website they had up was like every panel, including all the fan run ones, like ours. But they put up this one that had like all the official events. And they still had, I guess it was Saturday, right? Tales of the Jedi. It's still here. So I don't know. But in addition to this, these are just the I picked out the comics related ones. There are some, like, there's like a High Republic panel, of course, that probably has some comic related stuff. There's some other very cool like Del Rey publishing related ones that I'm sure the Living Force will talk about on Monday. But yeah, if you're a Star Wars books and comics fan, there's a lot of cool stuff happening at Celebration.
And shout out to our good friend Charles Soule. I believe that was just officially announced today. That's right. He got a fancy new title. I believe it's creative consultant to Lucasfilm.
That's correct.
If I'm quoting that correctly. So very, very awesome to see that. We all love Charles Soule for his contributions. So also some more comics adjacent news. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of content happening at Star Wars Celebration. We will keep you up to date on the comics stuff. Utini will keep you up to date on everything as much as we can. We have a very large team heading out there, so be sure to head to utini.com to get all of your information. All right, the last weekly pull list, the sort of calm before the storm. Before next week, we have a short pull list this week, Jacob, but kind of an important one.
Yeah, we just have one comic out today, and that is Crimson Reign #4. This is the penultimate issue. You got only one left. It is entitled The Knights, written by Charles Soule with pencils by Steve Cummings. The cover is by Lionel Francis Yu. The inker is Victor Olazaba, and the colorist is Guru EFX, and the letterer is Travis Lanham. So make sure you pick that one up. The link is, as always, in the YouTube description down below. So yeah, this was a pretty good issue featuring the Knights of Ren and Vader's Castle. Can't really complain there.
Yeah, interesting one. I'll be interested to see how it ties into the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So far, like, Crimson Reign's been super solid, and this one's no different.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not as all encompassing as War of the Bounty Hunters is, but I don't think that's a negative thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's the title of the miniseries itself has been really excellent, and all of the sort of adjacentness of the other main books are I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
I'm very, very curious as to what's going to happen as we transition into Hidden Empire.
I
It
agree.
is- It is. I mean, it's gotta be. I think it's still like the original plan. I'm pretty sure was it for both of them to come out this year. Obviously, delays happened, are going to happen in the future. So it might be stretching into early 2023. But you'd expect to be seeing solicitations for Hidden Empire #1 pretty soon. Either, I guess. Well, I guess I don't think they've done solicitations this month yet. I don't think. I don't know. Either for this either solicitations this month or next month, I would expect to probably see Hidden Empire #1, but I don't know.
Also, this is your weekly reminder. Free Comic Book Day is coming up again. It is Saturday, May 7th. So you have a couple more weeks. You got 2 more weekends before that comes up, but be sure to show support to all of your local comic stores on Free Comic Book Day and see what sort of sales and good times and events that they are running, so we can go out there and we can support our local comic stores, support our art, our creative teams behind the books, and maybe catch up on some of your backlog. So
Absolutely.
Right,
and don't forget, the next day, the 8th, is Mother's Day, because you probably did forget, but Mother's Day is the day after. It's important.
Get your mother a comic.
Exactly.
there you go. Combine the two. That is a great idea.
Give her a free comic book, you got.
Oh, okay.
No, don't listen to Caleb.
Don't. Let's make sure we understand. That shouldn't be the only thing you buy her.
No.
But
No.
maybe if you're getting her something else in addition to the bouquet of flowers or the other nice
Get her an
things you're getting
omnibus
her,
at least.
there you go. All right. Before we roll this interview, Emma, you've got one more major Utini focused announcement, and that is for some upcoming content that we have coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get this on people's radars because it's coming up. We have a big crossover event coming up all about Kenobi. So the dates for this are going to be between May 15th and May 21st. And we've got a bit of a schedule for you guys here. So it kicks off on the Monday of that week on the Living Force, where they're doing a Kenobi character spotlight. And then Wednesday on the Cosmic Force, we are doing a show all about the Obi-Wan comic, from the Journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Thursday on Legends Look Back, they are, of course, talking about the Kenobi book by John Jackson Miller. It is my personal shame that I still haven't read that yet, but I'm going to try to fix that before this. And then Friday, we have Utini Game Nights. We're going to be doing something with Obi-Wan, but that's still to be determined. We were all very disappointed to learn that you can't play the Obi-Wan game from like the original Xbox anymore. So that would have been perfect, but we'll figure something else out. And then Saturday on the Star Wars Archives, they're doing an episode titled The Ben Years. So really excited to hear about that. And of course, we also have more surprises and bonus content from all across our teams at Utini. So look forward to that. So you might be wondering, what can you do to prepare for this? Well, you can pick up Kenobi by John Jackson Miller, which was recently released as part of the Essential Legends collection. It's also available now as an unabridged audiobook, and you can get it for free at utini.com/audible. And you can also pick up from the Journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is the comic that we're going to be discussing for, a little bit of a quicker read, so you can participate in our show discussion. And we also have an affiliate link. So you can find all of those affiliate links in the description below. So definitely look forward to that. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's there's a lot of planning that's going on for all of it, for this combined, not really we're calling it a crossover event. So yeah, it's gonna be lots of fun. So we highly encourage you guys to participate and read some of the stuff so that you can participate in the chat and have a good time. So all right. Go ahead.
I was like, if you want to call this a crossover, this is more of the Crimson Reign crossover, whereas our Shadows of the Empire event was more of a War of the Bounty Hunters crossover, if you will.
That's right.
I love
Yes.
the comparison. So, all right, we are about to run a quick ad break, and then when we come back from that, we are going to air our Ario Anindito interview. Anything you guys want to say about this interview before we run to it, other than the fact that we all had a great time? Ario is a great creator. we're really happy to get a chance to talk to him. But I want to give you guys just a quick minute or two to see if you guys want to say anything about the interview before we air it.
Yeah, just thank you to Ario for his time. This was like extremely special, I think, for all of us. I can definitely speak for all of us when I say that. And I hope everybody enjoys it and finds it insightful. I know I learned a lot just about the comic making process. It was super interesting to hear about. So hope you guys enjoy it and also find it, educational.
Absolutely. Send him some love. He definitely deserves it, and he's a great person. So you'll probably, by the time of this, you watch the end of this interview, if you're not absolutely in love with Ario, then something's wrong with you.
That's true.
Like, he's just so charismatic and open. So we had a great time. I'm sure you will do over this next hour and change.
Yeah, he's very, I would say he is very active on Twitter. His Twitter handle is at Ario Anin, ARIOANIN. So send him some love because he is an amazing person. Just in general, he's an amazing person. On top of his amazing creativity for the High Republic. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we will be airing that, and then we will be joining you guys in the chat for a little bit, and then we'll talk to you guys next week.
It's the best back cover since Star Wars Episode 1 hardcover novelization, the one with young Anakin, because on the back, just to remind y'all, is a full headshot of Watto.
It's so big.
I think I brought this up on one of the earliest episodes of the Living Force ever, and I thought I'd bring it back.
Oh my god, yeah.
Series and all of Legends. What do you guys think? Could it be the X-Wing series? Might just be the most romance-intensive series ever. And we're not just talking about the scene where Corran Horn describes his love affair with an otter. I mean, a Salonian that he hooked up with her and then he broke out in chives.
Yeah, not chives.
Not
chives.
What's it called? The bumps?
Hives, dude. Hives.
Chives go on your potato.
I'm hearing you say the same thing.
Chives, what you put on the potato? No C. Hives.
Hives.
Not chives.
What did I say?
Chives.
It's not a very common story to approach. Yeah, again, drawing the complex family tree of Jango to clone identical son to clone all identical millions of sons, but they're a generation older. So then the son is kind of all Jango's equal, but then Boba is a generation younger, but then that clone's son is Boba's age, but then is Boba his dad or his nephew or his uncle or his cousin? It's like
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special Cosmic Force episode. We are joined by a very special guest here today. You might know his work from the High Republic. He's also done a couple of covers from Trail of Shadows, Crimson Reign, and of course, the upcoming Obi-Wan comic. So please, along with the rest of my team here, please give a warm welcome to Ario Anindito. Ario, how are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great, and I hope everybody here is doing great as well.
We are doing very well, and I appreciate you giving us some. We've had some scheduling differences in the last couple of weeks trying to get this on. So we really appreciate all of your patience, because our audience is going to be really encouraged to hear you. Have us kind of talk with you for a little bit over the next little bit of time. So. I want to go ahead and get right into it. I know that you went to school for design, but I really wanted to know, at what point did you get an interest in art? Like, you have had such a great career, but that really wasn't, that doesn't seem like where you started as your career. So where did the interest in comics come from?
Well, actually, first of all, please forgive my poor English, as I'm not really, fluent, but I'll do my best.
You're good.
Yeah, actually, I am interested in comics since I was like 6 years old, because I got my older cousins. They read comics, and when they are done with the comics, they gave it to me. So at that time, I started to think that I think it would be great if I can make a living, if I can be a comic book artist. But when I go to college, I took architecture because somehow I want to learn how to do a systematic, conceptual thingy,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And I figured that I can study art by myself, the young and stupid thinking of me back then. So I figure like, okay, I can learn art by myself, but I want to actually also learn architecture, the technical, systematic, conceptual way of structural stuff. And my dad is actually an architect as well, so that had a lot of influence in me as well. And also in Indonesia at that time, there are no college that specify on studying comic.
Right.
They are art schools, of course, but I wanted to be specific to comic books. So then I decided that I'm going to just learn how to make comic by myself while studying architecture. So yeah, that's how.
What were some of those first books that piqued your interest that your cousins had?
Oh, it was a European comic called Trigun: The Lost Empire by Don Lawrence. And then there's also Smurf by Peo. Yeah, and those kind of comics. Also, there's Indonesian translation of Batman and X-Men as well. So yeah, those are the comics that made me want to be a comic artist.
Did you have like any like artists that you thought were like very influential early on for you? Like I don't know if like with the X-Men stuff was like Chris Claremont like a big inspiration for you growing up, or?
Oh yeah, but when I was a little kid, I didn't really remember the artist, right? So I don't, and it is too hard for me to copy their style to be influential, because especially the Trigun: The Lost Empire, because the artwork is very complicated. So I just enjoy reading them and looking at the visuals. But the one that actually influenced me in drawing was actually Japanese comic, the manga. So after I read the European and the US translated comic, and then when I was in elementary school, I started to get influenced by the Japanese manga, and especially Dragon Ball by Akira Toriyama. It has a lot of influence in me. So actually, maybe the first artist that had a major influence in me is Akira Toriyama. And then I started to get back to the US comic again, probably in '97 when I was in junior high school. I followed the Uncanny X-Men comic by Joe Mad, and that had a huge influence in me, because Joe Madureira, he has a perfect mix between US comic and Japanese comic. He mixed it up really good, perfect balance of it, and so that style has a lot of influence in me.
That's great. So how did you let's move forward to how did you get associated into Marvel and become a professional?
Yeah. So when I was in college, even though I study architecture, I still draw, superheroes, because you cannot hide who you really are. So instead of drawing a lot of buildings, I keep drawing Spider-Mans and X-Mens, and up to the point where I got featured in a campus magazine, in the college magazine, and the title is Wrong Direction, because people keep spotting me drawing superheroes instead of buildings. Yeah, it's a wrong direction indeed. And so I keep drawing and uploading my drawing to the internet, to DeviantArt. And then one day there's this Italian guy who is he has an agency, a talent agency, and he offered me to collaborate. Can I be your representative? As in, I'm going to offer you to work for the publisher in US and Europe. And I was like, back then, I was like this young boy from Indonesia who is pretty clueless, and I don't know if this is going to be real or I'm just afraid that this is going to be a scam. Like, I'm a prince of Nigeria, I have money, and so I was like, okay, is this real? And then, okay, let's try to do it. And then apparently he's a real agent, and I keep having small gigs, for illustrations and stuff. And then in 2012, he offered me to do a small gig for DC Comics, and it was for Red Hood and the Outlaws backup stories. Yeah, for 2 issues, and then I start drawing them, and it was like a dream come true, because I remember in 2009. I go to Singapore Comic Con, and there's Brian Bolland as a guest artist over there. And I took a lot of my courage, and then I give Brian Bolland my portfolio just to show him that, hey, Mr. Bolland, I like to draw as well. And your Batman comics, Joker, Joker comic really inspires me to draw. And then he take a look at my drawings. He really took his time to see my drawings.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very awesome, because I thought he's going to be just do a quick review, a quick view of my drawing, and then that's it. But he really took his time, and people in line still already like, hey, this guy is taking his time, huh? And I was kind of nervous, but Brian Bolland, the master he is, he said something that I will never forget in my entire life. When he closed my portfolio, he said, I don't know how it works nowadays, but I think you should work for DC. And I was like, holy caramba. Wow. Yeah, that day I lost the power on my knees, and I was like, I almost fainted out. But then from that moment, I got this courage that, okay, if I try hard enough, I'll probably be able to work for DC or even Marvel, because at that time in Indonesia, it's like a dream, if to be able to work for those two. And I came from the era. I've lived on the era where there is no internet, the dark ages.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
I remember.
yeah, you remember, right?
I do.
And so it was kind of like, oh yeah, right. I can work for DC or Marvel. Yeah, that's a dream too far, I guess. But internet made it happen, and it made it real. So after I work with the Italian agency, and then I start making DC comic, even though it's a little gig. But unfortunately, it's just a small gig, because at that time I was working in an advertising agency, and I have a contract to make. Actually, I'm able to do the DC comic because I took a 3-month break, because at that time I was shooting a movie. I became the art director actually in a movie shooting for a Indonesian movie. So I took a 3-month break and being an art director, and then the offer to do the DC comics came, and I said yes. And 5 minutes after I said yes, then I think, how am I going to make a movie while being art director for a movie? Too late. I already said yes. And then so it was a hellish period for me for at least 31 days of being an art director and creating comic at the same time.
Wow.
Never again, never again. And
How did the movie do?
the movie went well. I'm nominated as one of the best art director at that time in Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in one of the award in Indonesia awarding ceremony, and DC Comics also my comic also published by DC Comic, the backup story. So everything went well, thankfully, and the media also. When they know that I get into this newspaper article of mine, and they give the title a juggling artist, because I keep juggling between two projects.
Yeah. Very fitting.
Yeah. It's, speaking about my article, the title is always funky. They say wrong direction, and then the others say juggling artist. So yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, and then I decided to quit advertising in 2013, July, if I'm not mistaken. And then I moved back to my hometown. I was working in the capital city of Indonesia. It's Jakarta. Yeah. And then I moved back to Bandung because I had enough of advertising, enough of selling other people's products. And then I go back to Bandung, this little town of mine, beloved city, and I started my own small studio. And then in 2014, my agent in Italy said that Marvel is interested for me to do a test, like sample pages. And okay, I did the test. It was they gave me a script of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I do like 5 sequential pages. And apparently, the editor back then, they really love my sample pages. And I remember the editor was Katie Kubert from the legendary Kubert family.
Mm-hmm.
I owe her my Marvel career because she really trust in me. She said, I really like your work, and what Marvel character that you like? And I said, it was always the X-Men, because I grew up watching the cartoon with the coolest soundtrack ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. and then she said, okay, we have this project called Wolverines. Would you like to do it? Yeah. And I was like, oh, you don't really have to ask, Katie. Let's do it. Yeah. And then that's the start of my Marvel career since 2014 till today.
That's amazing.
Wow.
It's so interesting because, like, obviously, like, this whole time, you're working on your art and everything. But for us in the West, like, basically it's just like you come out of nowhere and are suddenly on Marvel. Like, like, I feel like the traditional path for so many artists is like, you work, you're on, like, maybe you're on, like, some of the smaller indie publishers with IDW or with Boom or something like that, and then you, like, work your way into the big two. And it's crazy, just like, we love your art. It's immensely, it's so amazing, but it's
Thank you.
just like, I don't know where it's like, I remember picking up the preview for High Republic #1. I'm like, I have no idea who this person is, but, like, I love their stuff and I want to see more of it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, obviously you did some work for Marvel, and that led to your work in Star Wars, since Marvel publishes Star Wars. How did that gig come about?
It started actually when I did Star Wars before in Star Wars Annual. I did the Sana Star Wars pages.
Yes.
Actually, before that, I was offered to do a Star Wars comic. I don't know what title, but at that first offer, this was before the Annual, I said no to the offer because, as a huge Star Wars fan, I don't want to ruin Star Wars. I don't want to disappoint all the Star Wars fans because I'm not good on drawing, droids and spaceships. And as a huge Star Wars fans that I am, I don't want to deliver an ugly comic with bad droids and starships. So I said no. And then my wife found out, and she almost killed me because because she's a huge Star Wars fan, and she said, "What? You say no to Star Wars?" And I was like, hey, I am not good in drawing droids and spaceship, and I don't want to ruin the comic. Okay. And then after that, I went to this Comic-Con in Malaysia, and there's a senior friend of mine who also draws comic, and he knows that story that I said no to Star Wars. And then when I about to go back to Indonesia on the airport, he gave me this book, Star Wars planes and starships. So there's a lot of, bisected starship, and you can see the machineries and stuff. And then he said his name is Alan Kwa, and he said, so you have no reason to say no again to Star Wars. And I said, okay, no pressure. so
what ships, like how did you get started? So if you said that you were not confident in your droids and ships, like what ships did you start drawing? Like how did you start that process to improve your confidence in those?
Well, I started to study the book. I started to look at all the ships that are in the book, which is complete. There's a lot of Star Wars ships there, and you got TIE fighters, you got X-wing, you got basically almost all the ships in Star Wars are there. So I just like, okay, because I somehow in my recent years as a comic artist, I really like to draw organic stuff like humans, monsters, and trees. I don't really like drawing buildings, even though I study architecture. And I don't really like drawing cars. I like drawing robots, but only if I made the robot myself. So I made the design easy because I got to draw this this gig for Marvel, which that requires me to draw Iron Man in his movie costume. And guys, movie costumes are easy for movies because they have 3D. So if you want to see Iron Man in different angle, you just turn them around in 3D, but when you have to draw it with hand, a little tilt is, a hard work. So, and the costume is crazy. The costume is really good. It's based on Adik Ranov's design, but when you have to draw it by hand, it's kind of, killing you. So yeah, after I studied the ships from that book, from that very book, and then I got the offer for the Star Wars annual. And my wife is there, holding her favorite knife, and and I was like, I hold the book, and okay, let's do it. I said yes, and then when I read the script, there's Sanastar's ship. And there's also R2D2, and there's okay, let's do this. And yeah, I tried to be brave, and then I did it. And the reviews are good, and all my friends who read it says it's really good. You draw a cool R2D2, and Sana's Starship is also looking quite good. And so I got the confidence to draw more Star Wars comics after that.
So we really need to thank your wife then for all of your contributions.
Yeah. Also, that's the reason why I'm still alive, Yeah.
Thank you, Marvel, for giving you a second chance here. So speaking of second chances here, so after you did the annual, like how was it being assigned to the High Republic? Like, you mentioned having to do several like interview pages for Guardians of the Galaxy. Was that did they approach a bunch of artists and say, here's some High Republic stuff, do some things? Or were you in touch with Kevin Scott, the writer, before this at all?
Well, I think it's because I have a work relationship with the editor, Mark Benicia. So I've been working on this comic that also, edited by Mark. I think it was Weapon Age, and then Atlantis Attacks, Sword Master, and I can't remember what other comic, but at least I've been working on at least like 10 or 15 comics with Mark. Actually, I owe this to Greg Pak, because when I Greg told me the story where he keep pushing my name to do Atlantis Attacks. He said, Mark, let's try Ario. I want to work with Ario because apparently Greg enjoys working on comics with me at that time. And then Mark, okay, let's try this guy. And then I work on Atlantis Attack. And then after Atlantis Attack is finished, I actually went to New York Comic Con in 2019. Those were before the COVID period. Little do I know that next year after that, there are no New York Comic Con, no San Diego Comic Con. So I visited New York Comic Con at the right time. Yes, right before COVID, because it's also my first time ever to go to the US. Actually, at the San Diego Comic Con, a few months before New York Comic Con, and then I go to New York Comic Con, and I finally get to meet all the Marvel people that I've worked with all these years. That I never met them before, but then at New York Comic Con, I finally get to see them in person. I met Mark, of course, Mark Panici. I met Greg Pak. I met Jim Zub, Charles Soule, Thomas Groneman, which is I worked with him a couple of times as well, and then Thomas offered me, "You want to meet Mark? Let's go to a place and meet him there," and then I finally get to meet all two of my beloved editors at that time that I've been working together for all these years, but I never met them in person. I thought they were, they are myths, like, and then I finally get to meet them in person, and we talk a lot. And then Mark told me that, hey, I want to, I want you to, work on this Star Wars project with me. And do you like Star Wars? And I was like, what is Star Wars? And okay. And I said, Mark, Star Wars, you don't have to ask. I really love it. And I remember that my wife will also kill me if I said no again. So yeah, it's always a yes when it comes to Star Wars. And then he asked what my favorite character from Star Wars is, and basically we chat about this and that. And then time flies to 2020. I was waiting for that Star Wars project. I didn't hear anything. I don't know what Star Wars project it is going to be. And right before COVID, I think Mark told me that, hey, this Star Wars project that I told you about, it's called the High Republic. And I said, I think I've heard that before somewhere. And then I Googled it, and wow, it's I think this is going to be quite a big one. And also read the evil netizen comments. The comments online that are evil even before the project started. Like Star Wars without wars? What is that going to be? And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be scary. Am I really? This no pressure at all. Should I take this? Because the responsibility is crazy for me to start this new era and try to make something that is accepted and beloved by the Star Wars fans. Start something new that is going to be the prequel of the Star Wars stories that we know without the Skywalker family. So this is a big deal, and I feel like I'm still kind of amateur to take this project, a project this big. So it is scary for me. It is very scary for me. And then COVID happens, and so I didn't hear anything about it for around 3 months. And then Mark says, hey, are you still available? Remember that Star Wars project that I let's do it. And
so
then
does the Utini is tries to be a positive force in the Star Wars community. does that negativity, how much does that weigh on you? You know, because you commented that you'd seen the negativity.
Yeah.
Like, does that alter your creative process, or does it give you pause if you know, do I take this project, do I not? Like, how much does that does the internet, being the internet, have an effect on you as a creator?
Yeah, it has a quite a big effect actually, because I never took a project in Marvel that is as scary as this. You know,
Yeah.
even before the project started, there's a lot of negative comments, and it gives me pressure, to be honest.
Sure.
Because I know I'm not the initiator of this project, but I'm going to draw the first visual for this comic, for this era, the High Republic, and I need to open this new world of this Star Wars era, and I have to make the reader feels that this is Star Wars, and they accept it and they love it. They need to love the characters, they need to love the story, and they need to embrace it. Like, okay, this is the Star Wars that we know, and we love the characters. We feel like they are the Jedi that you know, that we all adore, and because Jedi is a special being, you know. I don't want to mistreat them, and I need to also design several elements that are not designed yet. So it's kind of tough for me, but I don't know, because I probably it's my love for Star Wars, and it's a challenge as a comic artist for me. So I decided to say yes, and I ended up genuinely in love with all the characters.
I was about to
Good.
say,
Well,
like, if you take a poll of all four of us here on the, like, we all love the High Republic. We're
Thank you so
our
much.
team is in love with it. Like, now that it is out and the first series is done, have you still gone back and seen a lot more positive comments now that it's actually out in people's hands now?
Oh yeah, and that's what keeps me going, because every time I read the reviews, every time I read comments, sure, there are still negative comments about the High Republic, I know, but the positive is all, you know, there's a lot of positive and encouraging comments, and they really love the characters. They really love, I mean, the authors of the High Republic are geniuses. They created such stories that is, you know, intertwining, and it's a complex stories, guys. You know, to be able to make them together and create such a wonderful stories, they are geniuses. And Kevin's, because I work personally with Kevin. Kevin is he's a genius. So when I finally said, when the project finally started with me on board, Mark Panicia set up a Zoom meeting for me and Kevin, you know, to talk about. I'm still have a little bit of doubt, you know, inside of me, like, what is this going to be? How is this going to be? What kind of Star Wars is this going to be? And then I talked with Kevin, and we get along really, really fast, really well. And we found out that we're both just two little kids who love Star Wars. And so we kind of show off our Star Wars toys, like, I have this and I have this, and, you know, and I even put like my Kowakian monkey on my shoulder while we talk. Yeah. And then Kevin said, oh, this is going to be fun. There's going to be Jedi riding on Rancor. And I was like, oh my God. And then at that very time, at that very moment, I was really 100% assured that both of us, Kevin and I, we really love Star Wars, and we don't want to ruin Star Wars at all.
Sure.
We really genuinely love Star Wars, from the original trilogy to the sequel to the prequel. We love Star Wars, and we genuinely want to create such a wonderful Star Wars story. And that Zoom meeting made me sure that we are going to create something good for Star Wars, and we're going to do our best to make sure that the Star Wars fans will love it. So yeah, after that we started the project, and I'm glad that all of you love it, and the people who read it also love it. And yeah, I'm genuinely in love with all the characters.
That's great. I'm so glad that you ended up working on the project, because I
Thank
know
you.
that like so many people on our team, got into reading comics because they wanted to keep up with the High Republic stuff. And,
Oh,
everybody
thank you
said
so
that the
much.
art was just mesmerizing. So I'm
Mhm.
so glad that you did. And as you were speaking about your love for Star Wars, it actually got me curious. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
My favorite Star Wars movie is actually Rogue One.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah. I love
yes.
that one too.
The Dark Horse pick. That's a good one.
That's an excellent pick.
Yeah, because yeah, I just love it. I just love Rogue One. The droid design I love. K2SO. And
Yeah, he's
then
great.
yeah, and then somehow it's like a war movie, but Star Wars. I mean, the stakes are so
Yeah.
high, and at the end they're all being heroes, like real heroes. They sacrifice. Okay, spoiler alert, the characters all died. and then to see Grand Moff Tarkin again, even though in CGI, I thought they were never going to show the face, and then he turned around and holy, and then the bridging at the end with Leia and Vader. Oh my god. Because
good.
yeah, because I wasn't born yet when Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 were in theater, so I didn't get to see them in the theater. But I did get to see the new version of 4, 5, and 6
That's
with
special
the
edition.
touch-up CGI. Yeah,
Yep,
special
yep.
edition. Yeah, I got to see them in the theater. But I already got spoiled, I know already that
Yeah.
Vader is okay. Spoiler alert: Vader is Luke's father. So it's not. Yeah, it's been spoiled, so it's not. It is not a surprise or a shocking thing when I see it in the theater. But when I see Rogue One, I don't know anything about it, and to see the end, it's a bittersweet ending for the crew. And it's just good. It's really good. I love it.
Well, I love seeing it's very clear that your passion for Star Wars comes across. And
Thank you.
I don't think you ever need to be worried about ruining Star Wars, because
Thank
you love it so
That's
much.
so sweet
I
of
can
you
tell.
to say. Thank you.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Exactly.
And I know one of the pieces of art that went around the Utini community that was like they were in love with. Jacob, do you have the
Yeah.
art? Okay. So in High Republic 15,
Okay.
this panel was the talk of our community the entire day. So I really wanted to kind of just like pick your brain about how did you come up with this? Just walk us through how this panel came to be, because it's beautiful. And we
Thank you so
love
much.
this article.
Yeah. So Ava Chris, she, for her, the force is like a sound, like a song, right? She hears the force like a song. So I, if you remember Keith, I draw Keith feeling the force in issue number 1. It's like a painting. It's like a visual that connects together, because she saw the force like a painting,
right?
But Ava Chris, she listens to the force like a song. So I decided to create a wavy like a wave, like a sound wave, like,
yeah,
that started from her, and then from that sound wave she can sense the other Jedi. So it's like it's sound based, like a sonar wave, like boom, and then she can hear every songs that the Jedi emitted. Like I can hear these songs, but not in a full, like you only hear part of the song. You didn't able to hear all of the song, and that's why you can see only part of the faces, and it's kind of chopped up, you don't see the whole body. You can only see fragments of the Jedi, because she can no longer hear the full songs of them. And it's failing. The Force is failing, and that's why on the next panel she's already on the ground, and she said, the Force, I cannot feel them, I cannot hear them. So this is basically Avar's attempt to bring, the Force, and to sense the Force from everyone around her. And sadly, yeah, the ending. Sadly, what happened is not too good. And I'm sure Avar wants everyone to be safe and sound, and she wants to feel the Force and give the Force to the remaining comrades. But yeah, you know what happened.
It's about
That's
to say, I'm
absolutely
just looking at
fascinating.
the characters there. Spoiler warnings for those who haven't caught up on the High Republic. About half of those are no longer with us.
Yeah. It's really sad. And I do draw some of the characters that is really near to Avar, literally near her, Yeah. And it's sad to know that some of them perished. Spoiler alert. Especially Maru, if I can say, because I created the look, I created the visual, and he died as a hero, and it's not easy for me to draw the panel, because I really love them, and to see him fighting till the end, it's kind of heartbreaking, but it's a grand exit for him.
Absolutely.
He did what he mission completed for him.
I like his last panel was probably my most emotional part of the whole. What are you doing? Same thing I've always done. I'm holding it together. It's such a
he always
beautiful
do.
line.
Yeah,
Beautiful art.
That close up on his face, and I think it's issue 4 where Keeve is holding Skier, and screaming at the end of the issue. I think those two panels. Close-ups. That emotion, I think, will always those stick with me. I think more than anything else, from a visual standpoint of this run.
Yep. Me too. For me, at the last issues, the most heartbreaking panel for me to draw is there are a lot, of course, but one of them are when we got a close up of Maru, and he said, "You are the light, and we must protect the light." And then he, no matter how hard he tried to keep everything together, he tries to smile. I think that's his last smile, in order to protect Avar. And then he said, "KC, now!" And then the droid is zooming and pushing Avar. And then also the page where I got to draw Avar landing on the planet, and then she's crushed. And in the last panel, she said she just trying to tell Keith about her last memory, that Maru, he's, and then Avar is so heartbroken. She's devastated, and I can feel it when I draw it. She's the marshal of the Starlight, and that happens on her watch, and it's tough.
Yeah, as we're discussing this last comic, the last issue in particular, it reminded me of how interconnected it is with, especially the Fallen Star and all of the other books. Do you read the other High Republic material, or do you get kind of a shortened, kind of recap to know what happened in the story?
Yeah, the second one, I get the short recap, because I cannot read it when all of the stories while drawing the comic, because
Right.
the comic has a pretty tight deadline,
Mhm.
and I also kind of want to read them after I'm finished with the comic to see the details. So I get to get the recap, and then I get to read the story and to find out how beautiful and interconnecting they are. And so yeah, the writers did a really great job on the stories.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And as
Yeah.
not to the High Republic was a really great success, but
Mhm.
you know, as we wrap up here, because we only have a few more minutes, we do want to talk about the future, and most namely the Obi-Wan Kenobi comic. Like, you know, you mentioned at the very beginning about being
Mhm.
nervous, being attached to something new and not may not tie into that. But here you are being attached to probably one of the most famous Star Wars characters in his
Yeah.
first standalone comic. You
Mhm.
know, we're really excited. We've seen the previews. We can't wait for the
Thank
what does
you.
it come out May 4th, I think. is
May the
first issue.
4th be with you. Yeah.
Exactly. I think we're all lining up. We've already got our pre-orders here. So, like,
Thank you.
anything you want to say about the Obi-Wan Kenobi comic?
Well, just like my other Star Wars comics, it's a dream come true. And Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters, also my wife's.
Mhm.
So
I'm sensing a theme here.
so I really enjoy drawing Obi-Wan, because it takes me back to the original trilogy.
Mhm.
You know what? I draw the pages while I'm listening to the Force theme. It really
Wow.
brings me
That's
back
awesome.
to
That's
you
awesome.
know, all the old memories, and just to be able to draw Obi, Sir Alec Guinness Obi, in the Tatooine, and oh my God, you know, I'm kind of speechless because it's wonderful. And then I get to draw Kid Obi,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the hidden adventure of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, how did he become him? You know,
Mhm.
what stories that if he's been through, and then I get to create and design new characters as well. So it's I think it's already in the preview, right? The Zabrak.
Yes.
It
female?
is.
Yeah.
Yes. The
Yeah,
preview didn't have any
So
of the
I get
dialogue,
to
just the
yeah.
artwork.
Yeah. I get to draw the Zabrak female, so it's fun because I like, you know, designing new characters, and they keep the fun and crazy adventure pages out of the preview, so you can enjoy them when later when it's out. But trust me, their Kid Obi is wild.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah. Christopher can well he knows how to make a fun and great story, as well as Kevin Scott. The thing with Kevin Scott and me, we love horror movies a lot.
Mm.
And so you can see that in our High Republic works,
The dream
especially
there a lot.
especially the issue number 2 where we get to see the dead hut inside of the
Yeah.
Oh
spaceship.
yeah.
We had a lot of fun in that as a tribute to Alien.
I was about to
Nice.
say, did you have to watch that beforehand before making that issue?
No, I already watched it too many times, so I already have it inside my head. The thing is, every time I have art blocks and every time I need to raise up my mood, I always watch horror movies. I don't know why, but it works. So far, I'm not a psychopath.
That's horror movies are your muse, apparently.
Yeah. My wife is the one with the knife, so I'm good. Yeah,
You're living it every
yeah, I'm good. I'm the one with the pencil, and she's the one with the knife, so it's all good. But yeah, working with both Kevin and Christopher in Star Wars, they're both genius in their own way. And I got to explore the Star Wars universe, which always a treat for every comic artist. When I work in Star Wars High Republic #1, I got to it reminds me why I want to become a comic artist at the first place, because I like drawing adventures. And in issue #1, we see Keith, doing adventures, jumping on a monster, a giant locust monster, jumping off a cliff or something like that. And yeah, that's why I become a comic artist. I originally want to be adventurer like Indiana Jones, but I'm afraid of heights. So I ended up, drawing comics with, adventures in it. So it's the same, although it's not the same. And Obi-Wan also had a lot of adventures like that on the first issue. So I'm very happy to be able to draw them, and you'll see. You'll see. It's really fun. It's a really fun comic to draw.
Absolutely. We're really, really excited for
Yeah.
for Obi-Wan and whatever comes next in your Star Wars career.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, before we let you get out of here, we want to thank you for your time, and I want to give you this opportunity to plug anything and everything that you want to be able to plug right now. So I turn the floor over to you to let people know how they can get in touch with you and how they can follow you and see all of your work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you. This means a lot to me, and I just want to say that your appreciation to our work, Star Wars The High Republic and Star Wars Obi-Wan, basically the Star Wars fans has treated us so nice, so kindly. The support really means a lot, especially to me, because I read all the reviews. Every time I feel like tired or a little bit demotivated because I got tired a lot and I read the comic, I read the review, and it feels like I got the force sending, I get sent a lot of force from out there from the reviews, and I absorb the force, and then I got energized again, and that makes me able to continue delivering the best, because Kevin Scott, he wrote a lot of interesting and complicated scenes in the comic. He even wrote sorry to your hand, Ario, in the script. So he knows that it's very complicated, and it's going to be tough for me to draw, and that's why I got tired. But I enjoy it. I enjoy drawing all those scenes, even though I know that I will end up exhausted. But I truly enjoy drawing all those because of our love to Star Wars, and we want to make it as epic as we can be, and to know that you guys appreciated what we did, it means a lot. It means the world, it means the universe for us and for me. And I just want to genuinely thank you so much for that. If you want to see more of my work, you can go to Instagram. It's basically all of my handle are Ario Anin, combined and without the Dito. So Ario Anin. There's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's Ario Anindito. And please stand by and read the next comic that is going to be released, which is Obi-Wan, the first one, Obi-Wan #1. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you guys will feel the same when you guys read it. If possible, you can read it while listening to the Force theme. It will be, especially the first pages. Oh, you have to listen to that theme by John Williams while reading it. You're going to feel the old memories back. And I want to thank the people at Marvel, Mark Panicia, and especially Mark Panicia, and then the people at Lucas for trusting me to do Star Wars, to do more Star Wars, because I'm a huge fan. and I'm more of a I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. That's first, and then number two, I'm an artist, so I'm a bigger fan than I am as an artist. So this is this means a lot to me. The Star Wars means a lot to me. I will not do anything that will ruin or destroy Star Wars because I still want to live, you know. You know, knife, and I want this is going to be a great memory, a great portfolio, a great career path that I will always remember. You know, later when I'm old, I will like tell my grandchildren like, I created this. I draw Obi-Wan, because I know Obi-Wan will live forever, even though like Sir Alec Guinness is no longer with us. Even though later, when I'm no longer in this world, Star Wars will live on forever, ever and ever. And I hope people will read, you know, our comics, our books, and know that there's this guy in Indonesia that is having a lot of fun on drawing and creating the comic for you guys.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Well,
Yes, thank you for being on the show. It was lovely.
You your contributions to Star Wars are amazing. On behalf of the entire Utini community, we thank you. We especially thank your wife for making sure that you provide the proper motivation. And you have a standing invitation. Anytime you wanna join us back on this show, you let us know, and we
thank you.
We would love to talk to you more, because we could talk to you all day if you know.
Yeah, me too.
If we could. So.
Yeah, you guys are fun. I can talk with you all day long as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Time zones notwithstanding, you know.
Yes, time zones and daylight savings time notwithstanding, we will have a standing invitation. So again, thank you, Ario, for joining us. Thank you to all of you for joining us. And until the next time we see you, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you all.
All right. So that was our interview with Ario Anindito. Another big thank you to Ario for taking the time to speak with us. I hope you all liked it, because we had a great time talking with him, and he's just an awesome person, and we are glad that he is a part of the Star Wars community. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of The Cosmic Force. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the show right here on YouTube, where you can hear us live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We also encourage you to subscribe to our audio version on whatever podcast platform you listen to. You can also follow us on Twitter and tweet at the show at Cosmic Force Show to stay informed about Star Wars comics happenings, or you can follow the host individually. I'm at Ty Rags, Emma is at Irma Jedi 26, Caleb is at Caleb Lamanek, and Jacob is at Jacob Bosch. For reviews, articles, and news for the rest of the expanded universe, be sure to visit utini.com. We also encourage you to join our Utini Discord community by going to utini.com/discord, and you can help support the show by heading to patreon.com/utini and start receiving exclusive perks starting at just $5 a month. A special thank you to OK Endar, Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, as well as Matt Billington, Elizabeth Cloutier, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for their amazing support. Thank you again to Emma, Caleb, and Jacob for hosting with me tonight. Thank you to Ario Anindito for taking the time to speak with us. Thank you for those of you joining us live tonight, and thank you to our listeners wherever and whenever you are joining us. We truly appreciate all of your time. We hope to see you again next week, but until then, may the Force be with you.